podcast, Those Twins Who Knit. I'm Jessica.
And I'm Rachel.
And this is our podcast where we just talk about all the things that we've been making recently. So it's predominantly knitting, but we've definitely been doing a lot more sewing as the weather's been warming up.
And if you were with us for our last episode, it has only been about 2.5 weeks. Usually we're like every 3 to 4 weeks as we finish objects, but...
or at least that's what we try to do.
Or try to do, but it's... I don't know, we've been finishing a lot of stuff and we both had the day off. I have the whole summer off, which I think helps finish stuff. But yeah, we're a little bit quicker than normal. Hopefully that's okay.
Yep. Also, quick housekeeping item. We got fancy new microphones courtesy of one of our very good friends, John. So shout out, John. Thank you so much.
He actually gave us these quite a while ago now, and we've been kind of intimidated.
Yeah, we've been scared to set them up. But we finally got around to doing it, so let us know if it helps or if it's worse. I don't know.
No. Be nice. Do you want to start with what you're wearing?
Sure. This is my T number 1 by My Favorite Things Knitwear, and I made the smallest size using Chibi sport yarn by Moondrake Fibers in the color electric blue. So this is probably the brightest item of clothing I own. It's just it's so blue. But I really love it. Yeah. It's definitely like more of a loungewear t-shirt than I was expecting. I don't know why in my head it was going to fit like a very traditional t-shirt, but it's a lot like looser and baggier. But I kind of like that. Like it definitely feels a little more casual. The arm right now has like quite a bit of like blocking lines that I'm hoping will go away with time, and I think that causes it to flare out in the sleeve a little bit more. But I think that's going to go away with time, so I'm not too worried about it.
Have you tried steaming it?
I did. It helped a little bit, but not...
I'm surprised with steaming it still.
Yeah. I'm sure if I'd like actually ironed it, it probably would have gone away instantly, but I just didn't want to touch the iron to it. I was like nervous. Trying to like steam it. So, no, I do love it though. It has the shoulder shaping, or the saddle shoulder shaping across the shoulder, and then short rows in the front and back to shape it. So, and it has this like detail along the collar where you can see like the edge of the bind off stitch, which is really unique because I feel like a lot of times when it's like a folded collar hem, it like folds onto the inside, so then you don't see it. That, or you like knit stitches together on the inside in order to like bind off as you go. So it's definitely a little bit different than what I was used to working with, but I really like it and I'm really happy with how it turned out. I have seen too where I think it was Knits has made this t-shirt, and she talked about how there's a billion ends to tie in. And that's accurate. There were a lot of ends to like weave in afterwards.
Why is that?
It's because when you knit the saddles, you do like 2 rectangles and then break the yarn, and then you do the back and then break the yarn, and then you pick up, you know, in the front and do one front, break the yarn, do the other front. So just like it just feels like you're breaking the yarn a lot in order to keep going. But that sort of thing doesn't really bother me. Like, it is kind of annoying, but it's not a deal breaker for me. And I'm sure a lot of folks who are more future sighted than I am probably like weave in as they go, but I would usually just like wait until the end of a project and weave in it all at once.
Every time I start a project, I tell myself this is the one where I'm going to be good and weave in as I go. And it never happens.
Okay, the reason I don't weave as I go is actually because in my mind, whenever I like block an item, the wetness of like the process of getting an item wet and blocking it to me like locks in all the fibers. Like in my mind, it's like this magical thing where like they meld together and get a little more like structural integrity. And so I'm always scared if I weave in an end and then wait a while before I block it, it's gonna come undone.
Oh,
and I don't think that's
thought
true.
About that. Yeah, I don't think
I'm
that's
sure it depends on like the yarn and like how grippy it is. I'm sure for most cases it doesn't make that big of a difference, but in my mind it does. So,
okay, I'm gonna be thinking about that now.
Yeah, I don't know. But what are you wearing?
Okay, so you've made this top as a finished object this episode too, so we can both kind of talk about it. But I'm wearing the Sabai top by Paula Strict, and I knit it in Sandnes Garn, Tynn Silk, no, not Tynn Silk, Tynn Line, held double. And I knit the second size, you knit the first size, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think because I did swatch for this and my gauge was a little bit tight, so I was like, ooh, I'll go up a size from what the pattern recommends, because the pattern should have put me at the smallest size, but then with a tight gauge, I was like, I'll go up one size just to be safe. I don't super regret that, but I feel like my armholes, I don't know if you can see
yours
this, they're very low.
Yeah.
Like barely covering my bra strap. I feel like when I move, sometimes you can see it. So that's fine. I still really like it, but if I were to do it again, I would go with the true to size. And there's not really a way to like connect it, because since they're increasing, it's not like a straight hem where I could just kind of like sew it up a little bit.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. But
I mean, you could. It would just like have like a little gape here that would look awkward.
It's not worth it to me, I think. It's not terrible, but just something I would change if I were to knit it again, which I might, because I do really like it.
Well, I'll kind of compare mine to yours a little bit in that I used regular Line by Sandnes Garden when I knit this white version. And I did have the same problem where my swatch at first was a little bit small. But I just, having worked with this yarn before, I was like, oh, I feel like it's going to stretch over time. So I was kind of okay with it being a little bit small. So even though my gauge was off, like I still went with the first size.
I'm like comparing the fabric. For some reason in my mind, this is a slightly denser fabric than this one.
It probably is.
But I have no idea.
Because I think this is probably like a worsted, and since you have two light fingerings held together, it's probably more like a DK.
I really like the white one though.
I really like it.
Okay, it's funny because I'm wearing it with white pomono pants that we'll talk about when we do sewing stuff at the end. But I knit a black Sabai top with white pomono pants, and then you have like the inverse.
Yes, I have like a white top, and then I made some black pomono pants.
We're gonna match, but like flipped.
Yeah. I really don't have anything else to add that you didn't.
I know. I'm like, what do you say about this?
I did make a mistake at the top in that I think there's supposed to only be one row of stockinette before the ribbon.
No, there's supposed to be 2 or 3.
Okay, that makes me feel better.
Because I omitted a little bit.
Oh, okay. I read the pattern again, and then I was second guessing myself. I was like, I think I did that wrong. I'll hold it up so y'all can see the neckline.
But it also has a variation where you don't have any ribbing that I've seen a lot of people do.
Yes, and that's actually what I'm making right now. That's the width that I'm working on.
I didn't realize you didn't have the ribbing on that.
Yeah, I decided to omit the ribbing because I was like, it's black, so I don't know that you're going to see it. But
I did the ribbing on mine.
It's curling a ton, so I'm like, maybe that was a bad idea. I'm hoping that with blocking it curls a little bit less.
I think it'll still curl some.
Yeah. A part of it too is I am using a different yarn for this version. This is Pure Silk held together with Merino from Knitting for Olive. I'm pretty sure the Pure Silk you gave me last year is like leftover from when you made the Audrey top by Petite Knit.
And I still have more if you need it. So.
I will not. Thank you. So yeah, I was like, oh well, I have this in stash and I liked the white version, so I'll make a black version. But it's a lot denser than the Line, which might be kind of nice. I don't know. We'll see when we finish it. But right now I'm kind of thinking I'll probably like the Line better.
I really like that fabric.
Because this one's just like lighter and airier. And since it has like linen and viscose, I think it's going to be a lot more breathable than this black one will be. We'll see. And then yeah, this one's curling. Since it's black, even if it curls a little bit, I'm not like too stressed about it because I don't think it'll be like super noticeable. But yeah. Probably not something that I'll like do again. But at this point I have like maybe like 3 or 4 inches of the body to go. So I'm like, we're committed.
We're going to finish it.
We're just going to finish it.
Yep. I really like the white version. I see myself making that one in the future.
Yeah, I really love this one.
So that was kind of a work in progress. Do you want to talk about finished objects?
Sure.
Should I go first or do you want to? I only have one aside from this top. 1.5.
Yeah, I only have one other.
And the half is not socks, actually, which is...
Well, mine are socks.
So funny. But the only finished object that I have aside from this top is a pair of socks. So I finished my Caramel Kiss socks by Sari Nordlund. And I wonder if I can show the texture a little bit, because it's got this beautiful, beautiful lace motif. I don't know, the camera... Oh, there we go. Trying to hide behind them. I knit it in Coast to Coast classic sock in the color London Fog from her coffee or fantasy coffee house collection. Did I get that right? And I don't know, I just thought that this lace pattern was really beautiful, and I thought it's kind of a muted, simple color, and we'll just do something really intricate with it. If you've knit the Poet socks, these feel very similar because the pattern repetition is the same stitch count, so it's like 60 stitches, but the motif repeats every 20 stitches, if that makes sense. And so I knit the body of it, like the cuff part,
the leg,
with 3 needles going around, which is kind of awkward, but it works. And then after that, I went to a magic loop for it, and yeah, last time I had these and they looked so lumpy and just weird, and blocking does such magic to lace. So I really, really like them. I have some ballet flats that I think they're going to be really cute with and just kind of girly and feminine. So that's my only finished object aside from this top, but I am happy to have another pair of socks.
I also have a pair of socks. Mine are a very different vibe than yours, but these are the Lima socks by Paula Strickland.
Did you block
Susanne
them?
Muller. I did. But as you can see, I did not use sock blockers. I just like laid them flat to dry, and they look kind of ridiculous, just with like the shape. Like, I feel like the leg is so skinny compared to the heel and the foot part. They looked even worse before blocking, so I'll put a picture of them when they like were fresh off the needles before I blocked them, and they looked so dumb, honestly.
Do they fit okay once they're on?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll put another picture too of them when they're on, because they look like normal socks when I'm wearing them. It's just because there's ribbing along the top and along the foot. They just look super cinched in, like when I'm just holding them, but you can kind of see hopefully a little bit of what the ribbing looks like. It is a 3x2 rib, so I did kind of have to think about that a little bit more, because I'm very used to either like a 2x2 rib or a 1x1 rib, where you kind of get into a repetition of like 2, 2, 2, 2, you know, or whatever it is. And with this one being 3, 2, it's just not one that I do all the time, so I had to.
That's how the twist
had to
top
think
that
about
I made last summer was, and I tripped up all the time.
Yeah. And it's easy to fix, but it's one of those like, oh dang, after you do it enough times, you kind of get mad at yourself. Yes. It does also have this Flegel heel, which is not like my first choice of heel, but I do like doing a Flegel heel. The nice thing is, since you don't have to like pick up stitches or anything, you can just do it all in one go. So I do really like that about this heel style.
I like them. I like a ribbed sock.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't talk about the yarn too. It's also the Coast to Coast Coffee House Fantasy Collection in classic yarn, but the color is Wet and They Eat Housing Coffee. And I think you have this yarn too.
I have that one too, yeah.
Do you know what you're going to make with it?
I'm thinking about, if I change my mind, I don't know. We're not
gonna hold you to it.
Yes. So actually, let me see yours. I'm thinking about making hopefully I'm pronouncing this right, Lume socks by Sari Nordlund, with this as the base or the main color, and then the accent would be the London Fog leftovers.
Yeah, that'd be cute.
I think that could be really pretty.
Yeah, you should do it.
So that's what I'm thinking about. But we'll see. We have to finish the pair of socks that I have cast on right now. And
I know, I'm like a one pair of socks at a time.
Yes,
For some reason I can have multiple sweaters going, but I just like one sock at a time.
Well, I knit most of my socks on US size 2 needles, and I only have one set of DPNs in that size. I've actually thought about buying more just so that I can allow myself to have multiple socks going, but I think that having one at a time does force me to finish them. So that's where we're at. Should I talk about those socks? Are we on to works in progress?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, cool. We're in works in progress now. So speaking of socks, this is the pair of socks that I have going right now. It's just one at the moment. But this is the...
Those are so cute.
I love how we're saying like these are, like there's multiple because there will be, but like right now there's one.
Yeah.
This is the Citrine sock by Inez Oliveira, or easier known as Vert Knit on Instagram. She has really beautiful designs. And I actually said at the very beginning of 2024, if you watched our plans for this year, that I wanted to make the sweater version of this. I wanted to make the citrine jumper. I've not cast that on yet, but we have a sock.
That's so cute.
I did make some weird modifications to this. I don't know. It was my fault. I didn't read the pattern all the way through before I just jumped in. So typically I cast on 64 stitches. Sometimes with lace where it like opens up, I can do, like Sari Nordlund's patterns have a lot of 60 stitches and I can do those, but most of the time I do 64 stitches on size US2 needles. So one of the sizes in the pattern had you cast on 64 stitches. I was like, perfect, that's what I will do. And so I did the ribbing, I did the cables, and then it had this row where it had you decrease. And I was like, I don't think I should decrease because I think they fit. And I tried them on. I think that they look fine, but it does force them to like cinch in more than I think her photos show. Like most people who have posted photos of these, it's like straight and mine is like cinching in, which I think blocking will help a little bit.
Yeah.
But then it also got wonky because my stitch count was wrong. I couldn't really follow her heels. And so at this point, we're just kind of freehanding it, but hoping that it still looks like the citrine socks.
Did you just do like a short row heel?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I just did my own, I don't know, numbers. I think you could probably just look up any short row heel with 64 stitches. And so I think it's going to be fine. The other thing that happened to me is, this happened to you. What pair of socks was it? It was a Summer Lee pattern.
Oh, are you talking about with like slip stitches?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I think it was the season socks by Summer Lee.
Okay, so my gauge for, or like lengthwise, the gauge for the stockinette is starting to feel longer than the gauge for the slip stitch part of it, because this is like every other row you're slipping stitches to create this texture. And so what I've been doing is every once in a while, I don't have a formula or like a logic or reason or pattern to this, but if I start to feel like the heel is looking, or the foot is looking longer than the stitch pattern, I will go back and knit it once, then short row back to the other side, and then short row again to add like 2 extra rows to the top, so that way the top and the bottom are feeling even. I don't know if that's a me problem or if anybody else has experienced it.
No, I think that's just the nature of slip stitches. They're going to compress the row gauge a little bit.
It shortens it down. So I think that I've done that. I didn't have any problems on the heel because the whole thing is the same texture. It was just once or not the heel, the leg. But once I got to the part where you're making the top and the bottom of the foot, I think I've already done that 4 or 5 times because I just feel like it's starting to look a little bit uneven. I think if I'm fixing it, I think it's going to be fine. I'm very excited for these, but just kind of a note of something that I'm doing because I don't think she had that in the pattern, but as I have said, once I got here, I kind of abandoned the pattern and now we're just doing our own thing. But I just love the texture. I love the cables. I think it's going to be really cute. So we're working through it.
Yeah, those are going to be really cute.
I know. They actually go pretty fast. Like, I only have one right now, but I think I'll be able to finish them both pretty quickly. So, and then hopefully this fall, maybe I'll get to do the jumper. But that's my pair of socks. Are you working on any socks?
I'm not. Since I just finished the Lima socks, I have not cast on another pair yet, but okay. I'm sure I will soon.
Do you have any other works in progress?
I have one other whip. So I'll share this one.
I feel like we've gotten so much done.
I know. I know. You were like 2.5 weeks. I was like, has it really only been that long? Like, I guess that makes sense, but it feels like it's been longer. I think part of it is like, I don't know, summer projects, it definitely depends on the project, but the ones that we've been doing, or the ones that I've been doing, I guess, are mostly like sport and DK, and those go a little bit faster.
I've got a fingering weight we'll talk about in a second, but yeah.
Yeah, see, I don't have any like
and not having sleeves to do. The days feel longer, I'm staying up later.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
This is the Margeaux top by Gregoria Fibers. So I've made this once in white before, but now I'm making it in brown with this Summer Silk by Berrocco that I've had in my stash for quite a while. This yarn is discontinued to the best of my knowledge, so I don't know that you can find it anymore, but I believe it's like a cotton silk blend. I don't have the label with me, but it's soft. It's kind of dry feeling, but like it's very soft to the touch. You can definitely wear it against skin. And so it's really just a textury, super textury tank top. And it's gonna have a high neck. So you start from the body. And I think my tubular cast on was like a little tight.
Mine was too.
But I'm hoping that with blocking that'll help a little bit. I can get it over my body. It just like is scrunching up a little bit. But at this point I'm not gonna go back and fix it.
Yeah, no.
It's like at the very bottom. It's too late. And so yeah, so you start at the bottom and then you knit up until you separate for the underarms, and then you knit the back, which I have already completed, and then go back and do the front. And then once I finish the front, then I'll join these together where the sleeves are, or the sleeves, the like straps, the shoulder straps. Yeah. And I don't remember how you join them together, but I'm guessing it's like a 3 needle.
That's
bind off or something.
That's what I did. I don't remember if that's what the pattern said or not.
You know, that's probably what I'll do regardless.
I feel like, I don't know, recently I've gotten very comfortable with like, even if a pattern says something, if I want to do something else, I'm like, it'll be fine.
It'll be fine. I'm trying to think what else. When I made the white version, I made the second size, and this time I made the first size. I think there was only like 1.5 inch difference between the two sizes, and I was just a little worried about this yarn stretching out a little bit more, so that's why I went with that one. Plus the white one that I made, I love the fit of, but it does sit farther on the shoulders than the pattern I think was intended to, so I kind of wanted to see how I would like it if it was just a little bit like less ease, if it had a little bit less ease. So we'll see. I think regardless it'll be fine. I think it's just going to be a matter of like they might have like different feels or vibes. Also, the thing that I kind of forgotten about the gauge of this pattern is that the designer calls for the main body to be knit on US size 2.5, and I went all the way up to a 7 to get gauge, and my gauge is still slightly small. But I didn't want to go up to an 8 because I felt like the yarn would be like too open if I went any further.
I think I did a 6 or 7 too.
Yeah, that's the same with the white one. I did do a gauge swatch for this one, but I went to Ravelry, and I'm so bad about adding Ravelry notes, but I am pretty good about adding my needle size that I used, thank goodness. So I just swatched with the same size needle that I used for the white version and met the same gauge as last time, so it worked out fine. But
I love the brown. I want to make another one of these too.
Yeah, it'd be really cute with the pants that you're wearing. So I'm like, I need to make a pair like that one.
I would rate this as my favorite summer top that I've knit so far.
Same.
Like the Margeaux top is top tier.
Yeah. So I was like, I feel good about making a second one.
Yeah, I would definitely make another one.
Yeah.
I am also working on a summer top. I told myself I wasn't going to do a lot of summer garment knitting, but I have a lot of summer yarns in stash that I I don't think I realized I had that many until I really got into this season and was looking through what I have. And so I do have plans for some. This one was not quite a stash, but I've had a lot of time off. I'm a teacher and I get all of June and July off, and it's funny what you can do with your time when you have like no work to do. So I was going through all of the garments that I have, just kind of thinking about like, what do I actually wear? Where can I repurpose yarn if I'm not wearing something? I'm just kind of limited on space, and why would I let beautiful yarn sit there if it's not getting used? So I have this, or I had this top, it's the Purl Soho ribbed raglan, which I've made 3 times now. The first time I made it in a short sleeve, but it has this high collar and like it's very cinched in and ribbed, and it was beautiful. It took forever. I did it on size US 2 needles. But I think just because it was a weird garment in terms of like, when do you wear it? Because the ribbing and the high collar made it feel wintry, but then it's short sleeved. I thought it was really cute. Like when I made it, I loved it. But I think I took like an Instagram picture and maybe wore it one other time.
It's probably one of those where it'd have to be like the perfect spring or fall day to feel like you could wear it.
Yes.
And this just, we have like
never
one or 2 of those a year.
Well, and especially once I made it again in the long sleeved, I wear the long sleeved all the time. And so then it really got pushed to the back burner. And I was like, you know what? This yarn is great. I love it. Let's do something with it. And so I took it apart. I knit it in Purl Soho Sweetgrass. And when I unraveled it, it straight up looked like ramen noodles. I think I have a picture I'll put in there because it was so funny. But I gave it a bath and I rewound it. I have probably 3 skeins and then some little random pieces where like the sleeve had just a little bit, you know what I mean? And so I fixed all that up and am now working on a sunshine tee by Andrea Gaughan, which has a knit along with it. And I originally was like, there's no way I'm gonna finish that in time for the knit along. I think it ends June 30th. End of the month.
You'll make it.
I will totally make it because I'm gonna finish the hem today. And then, yeah, sleeves and collar. I am kind of...
How long are the sleeves?
That's a good question. I feel like they're comparable, if not maybe shorter to yours.
Okay.
So, not bad. It is a fingering weight. I'm doing it on US size 3. But I've been doing a lot of sewing projects, and so it's been really nice to have a knitting project that I don't have to think about too much, because I feel like I've had to think a lot about sewing. And so it's been very easy to just, once I got into the connecting the body and I'm just going round and round in stockinette, it has been flying. So
that's kind of how I'm feeling about like my 2 tank tops. Like this one is like basic stockinette, so easy to pick up. And then this one, because it has a little bit of texture, it's not complicated, but it's like, oh, if I'm in the mood for something that I can like think about, like I'll grab for this one. And since I'm so close to finishing these 2, I think I need to figure out my next 2 projects and have one of each as well. It's working out for me.
The only thing I think I'm going to modify on this, I don't even know if this is really a modification. She has you, so basically all of the finishings for it are knitting and then folding it over. And then she has you sew it down and even has this really great tutorial for sewing it down. But I kind of want to just do a, like knit it and then end it that way. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like where you do a knitted cast off instead of casting off and then sewing it.
I like, this is my biased opinion. I knit years ago the comb sweater by, I can't remember who it was. I believe Fiona Alice.
Is that a
Brooklyn Tweed?
Yeah.
Yes. And the way they offered 2 different options for the collar. One was where you like pick up and knit, you know, so you're like binding off.
Yes.
As you go.
That's what I would like to do.
They also had a different option where you keep the stitches live and you like tack them down as you end it, like as you're seaming it. Oh. But the stitches are live, like you never cast them off. You just like.
Okay, I think she recommends you cast them off.
Okay. I like to keep them live if you're not like with this one because you have to see the bind off edge. Obviously,
that's how this one's going to be on the collar too.
But if it's going to be on the inside, the stitches live, I think adds a lot of stretch to it. Like I've never had an issue not being able to get one over my head when I do that.
So how did you do this one?
This one you bind, so you pick up
from the wrong
stitches
side.
From the wrong
That's
side.
how this is.
Yes, and then you cast them off, and then she has a video that you like watch to sew it down. So you sew it.
So you did
after it's been bound off.
Okay, that's how this one is too.
Yeah.
Do you recommend that as opposed to?
Well, the video wasn't in English, so it took me a minute to figure it out. But once I got it...
I'll have to send you hers because she has a good video.
Yeah. Okay, once I got it, it was not bad.
Okay, I'm going to have to play with that.
That is a little caveat. The video... Yeah, it was not... It didn't have subtitles. You kind of just had to, like, watch and see what she was doing. And it was definitely doable. Like, you could do that.
Do you think that the reason you couldn't just, like, pick up and connect... Okay, so you pick up from the wrong side, knit it, fold it over, and then connect it to a stitch here. Why could you, is it because you would probably get too tight with your tension? Is that the main issue?
I think you could do it. I think the reason they don't recommend it is because you would have like a purl bump underneath it.
Well, you do too though.
Do I?
Yeah.
Then, no, it doesn't matter. Go for it.
Okay. Sorry.
That was my reason.
I didn't mean to call you out.
Sure, okay. Try it. Let me know how it goes.
That might be tonight's project. So I'll let you know.
That means I probably did something wrong at some point, but you know, that's okay.
You can definitely see the pearls. Not on the straightaway, but like on over here, yeah.
Yeah. I feel like, because I probably started on the back shoulder. This is probably like the beginning where I was like figuring it out, I'm guessing.
Yeah. I like it.
Okay. As long as you think it looks fun, I would go for it.
Okay, cool. Yeah. That's what we're going to do. We've decided. I have one other work in progress. Do you have?
Nope, I just have the 2 tank tops right now.
But this one we have kind of in common. I'm just a little bit farther.
You're a lot farther.
This is my half finished object because the knitting part is done, but we have not finished the project in its entirety. This is the Florence bag by Petite Knit. I knit it in Isayer's, I'm going to say Japanese cotton because, I have the label with me. I'm not 100% confident in this exact pronunciation, but I had a kind viewer tell me that this means Japanese cotton. I don't know if this is going to focus. We'll have it linked. But I knit up the largest size, which is still pretty small, I think. My gauge is a little bit tight, so this should be measuring at 28 centimeters, and it's naturally at 27. I have to kind of stretch it a tiny bit, but I think 1 centimeter is not going to be too tragic of a difference when I go to put in the zipper, hopefully. Knock on wood. So it's really not a difficult project, but the yarn was not very fun to work with, so it did take me longer than I thought it was going to. I think theoretically, with days off, not doing anything in my life except for knitting, I could have finished this in like 2 days, and it took me over a week and a half because my hands got tired so quickly of the yarn. But I'm very excited to have this done so that way I can put in a zipper and a lining, and I think we have those. They just came in.
Well, I'll talk about it while we're adding that. I did go ahead and I purchased yarn to make the same bag. So I purchased Isayer's Core Organic yarn in this like kind of linen color. And the reason I went ahead and ordered yarn was because Rachel was placing an order for the zipper and for the like leather strap. And so I was like, oh, okay, if Rachel's placing an order, then I'll go ahead and tack onto it. That way we could split shipping. but I haven't started mine. So this is the strap that we ordered from Petite Knit. It's like a dark chocolate brown, and then honestly the zipper is gonna match the yarn that I got.
That matches so good. Mine doesn't match quite as good, but it's fine.
They're still neutral. It'll still be good.
I think you're supposed to get it so it's pretty close to the edge anyway. I have not started the sewing part at all, but it'll be fine. I like it still. But yeah, yours is like, wow, perfect match.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but I have a feeling the yarn's going to be, because this one's 100% linen, so there's like no stretch to it. I have a feeling it's also going to be just horrendous on my hands.
I'm trying to decide if this would be better or worse than the cotton. I feel like they're going to be the same.
Yeah, they're both going to be rough.
But it's going to be really cute in the end. This is definitely a product knit over a process knit. But I really want this bag for vacation next month, so we're going to finish it. We're determined. In fact, I might make that my project tomorrow. I feel like while I'm off every day, I'm like, okay, this is my project. I'm going to get this far. I set a goal. It's been really nice.
I'm very jealous. I'm still working full time, so I have not had that opportunity.
This is the one time of the year I can keep up with you because I feel like you're always so fast. So I don't have any acquisitions this time.
My only acquisition was the Florence bag, so
I guess, yeah, the strap and the zipper, but should we talk about sewing stuff?
Sure.
Okay, on to the sewing stuff.
Yeah. If you're just here for the knitting, we totally understand. Thank you for joining. But if you're here for sewing, I do have, I think, 3 finished sewing projects.
I do too, but I can't talk about one, which is so annoying. So we'll say 2 today.
Okay. Well, I'll talk about one of my first one, which is the Bestie bag by Blackbird Fabrics.
I can't believe you made that.
Isn't it so cool? It's like a banana-shaped bag, and it's this faux leather material. I bought the kit, so it came with the faux leather, the interfacing, the lining, the zipper. It came with like a special handle in case you didn't want to use the same fabric for your handle. And then it also came with if you used that like webbing material, I think is what they called it, it came with like the strap adjuster so you could move it. But I decided to just use the same fabric for the strap and then tie a little knot at the end. To be honest, my strap is probably a tad too long for what it should be because it kind of like hangs off a little bit when I'm wearing, but I'm proud of her. It's just like something that I never would have thought I would be able to make. Because it looks store-bought, but yeah, it's not perfect. So if you get close to the seams, like some of them are definitely a little rough, and there were definitely a few spots where my machine had a hard time going over the multiple layers. Because like, for example, right here where you connect the strap, like here there's like a layer of the interfacing and the fabric like 3 different times, one for like the outside, the inside, and then the like strap material. So maybe even 4 because you fold the strap in half. So it's like 8 layers of fabric here, and my machine was not having it. It was not happy.
I'm just so mind blown. Like, I feel like there's something really beautiful about things that you can tell are handmade, but also I'm like, wow, you would never know.
She's just kind of cute. She kind of sits, you know, like off to the side, like a little crossbody. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I love that.
So I'm pretty happy with it.
How would you
There were so many pieces to cut out. Like I've never had a pattern where I had to cut out this many pieces. Yeah, because, here, let me talk about the lining too. On the inside, it's like fully lined. And then there's 3 pockets. There's 2 on one side. And then there's one on the other. There's like one big pocket on the other. Yeah, you can hide all your stuff.
Okay, I was going to ask, how would you rate the difficulty of it? Like intermediate, beginner?
I do think a beginner could do it. Like, I still consider myself like a adventurous beginner.
Yes.
You know? And so like, if I can do it, anyone can do it. But I would say it's probably not like a good first project just because there were so many pieces. And why is my zipper getting stuck? It was fine earlier. Okay, there we go. There were so many pieces to cut out and keep track of, and just some of the things were fiddly, like with all the layers and everything. Like it definitely, yeah, I would say there were parts that were more fiddly than anything else.
I'm so impressed, but I love it.
I really like it. I did watch, what's her name? Sydney Graham has a tutorial on YouTube that was amazing. Like she walked through everything. So the pattern was very clear. When you print out the pattern, it's like 1 billion pages. One, because there's 1 billion pieces.
Yes.
But then two, there's like 1 billion instructions. It was so intimidating.
It was thick.
I think there were like 38 steps in total or something like that. I was like, oh my God, how long is this going to take? But it really wasn't bad. And the pattern instructions are very clear. But it was really nice having Sydney's tutorial to follow along with. And I could check and make sure that I was following correctly. I did make a mistake though at one point. Whenever you're sewing the lining, you're not supposed to sew it closed because you'll need the lining open in order to work on the inside of like the faux leather part or whatever your like main body fabric is. And I didn't catch that step and I closed my lining up and then I was so confused. I was like, wait, how do I get it like right side out again?
Did you have to seam rip?
Yes. So much.
I know. I feel like in sewing, and it was probably like this with knitting too, but I've been knitting so much longer, it's not as present in my mind, but I feel like I have to make every mistake.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
That's so funny.
So I'm happy with her. She was fun. She, is different. So
I am so impressed. I want to make one. Trying to think what my sewing projects were. So I'll just briefly say this. I'm part of the tester group for Silver Saga's Eleonora sleeveless dress. She's put some pictures out there, but she's kind of asked people not to share until closer to the release date. So that's what I spent so long this week doing. But we'll talk about it next time. So I'm like, wait, what else did I make? I made the pants that I'm wearing, which you also made. And I also went back and fixed the Nellie dress. I guess maybe I'll talk about the Nellie dress first because that one we saw last time. If you watched last time, I made the Nellie dress by, I keep her patterns in Blackbird's cotton linen twill in like an almond color. And I was like, I really like it, but the armholes again were really big. But
I think maybe we have like small arms.
Yeah, we do, to be fair. And this one, like, it still lays fine, so like not an issue. But with the dress, it was like bubbling up. I'll try to put a picture of it. And at first I was like, it's fine, but like if I did it again, I would definitely change that. And some people offered really nice suggestions like putting darts in or putting elastic or shearing it. And I honestly thought those were really helpful, but I couldn't think of a way that I could do any of those suggestions without basically like seam ripping the whole bodice to make it look good. Like I think you could have added darts, but it just wouldn't have looked quite as polished. I don't know, without, like, I'm saying adding darts like without taking it apart.
Yeah,
you know
without still getting to the wrong side.
Yeah, like I think I still would have needed to take it apart. And I was like, that's fine, I'll just live with it. It's still really cute. And then one day, we were going to an antique, there's this like big antique event that happens on the first weekend of the month, every month in Kansas City. All these different stores and everything. It's really fun. I was like, this is the perfect occasion to wear like a really, I don't know, just flowy dress like that. And I didn't want to wear it, which normally I'm like, oh, I just finished this. I'm so excited to wear it. And I usually wear the objects that I finish, or like the garments that I finish right away. And I was like, okay, I've never worn this. Here's a good opportunity to wear it, and I don't want to wear it. That's a bad sign. And so I think that's what motivated me. And I took it basically completely apart. The only two seams that I could keep without seam ripping were the collar seam and the hem seam, but everything else I basically redid. And the ties, there's some little ties, which took longer than I thought, honestly, because sewing is one thing, but then when you have to like take the time to seam rip to then resew it, it actually felt longer second time than it did the first time.
Yeah.
But I took it in at the waist, I don't remember, quite a bit, like probably at least 2 inches. And then I also took it up a bunch in the shoulder. So I tightened the connecting part there. And I think it fits so much better. It's still not like 100% perfect, but like I am super happy.
It's like
with
comfortable
it.
wearing
Yeah,
it.
like I feel good about wearing it. And I mentioned last time that the reason I was kind of hesitant to do that was because I've seen a lot of people say that it's hard to get like on and off, like the neck hole is really tight. Mine's not there yet. I can still easily get it on and off, but if I took it in anymore, I think it would be. So it is a little bit of chicken there, but I'm really glad that I did that. So that took up a little bit of time on my sewing, but now I get to wear it and be excited about it. Yeah. So that was my first sewing project I spent some time on. And we both made the pomona pants, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about yours?
Yeah. I made the pomona pants in a black fabric. It's like a black cotton linen twill from Blackbird Fabrics. And the thing that was interesting about the pomona pants is that she calls it a sailor pant, where the front of your pant wraps around the whole leg and then connects to the back of your pant, which was really nice as far as like cutting out fabric, because I cut out 4 pieces total.
I literally called you when I was making it, and I was like, is that right?
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't seem right.
So you cut out 2 pant legs, which like will wrap around, so that's covers your whole body. And then I cut out 2 pocket pieces. And I think her pattern only calls for you to cut out 1, because I think her picture just has 1 on like the right side. I could be wrong.
I put them on both.
I put them on both. I thought it was cute on both.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I cut out 4 pieces, 2 pants and 2 pockets.
Which also makes the yardage very small.
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly how much it was.
I think it's like less than 2 yards.
Yeah.
Depending on the width of your fabric. I think if you have like 45-inch fabric or something like that, you'd probably need a little bit more. But if you have like the 60-inch fabric or higher, you're golden.
So I don't know what mine is, because I made mine, I don't know if you can see it here, but I'll insert a video. I made mine with an old tablecloth from Target. So, but honestly, I think it worked out really well. We had a tablecloth that got stained all the time, and finally we had a red stain that was really bad that did it in, and I was like, we can't use this for the table anymore. But it was still a lot of fabric, and it's, what did I say? I looked it up before we started. 92% cotton, 8% linen. So it's 100% natural fibers, and that's what I made mine out of. I will say, not that I think anyone's going to run out to Target and buy a tablecloth to do this, but maybe you will. It was only $20, so like, that's pretty good for a 100% natural fiber sewing project. Pre-wash it, because I went to Target to look at the reviews to see if anybody else was like, this tablecloth stains really easily. And nobody said that, but
It's just you.
It's just me. I don't know. Maybe I need some better laundry tricks. But everyone in the comments was like, this shrinks significantly, which I hadn't paid attention to, I think because it was probably too big for our table at first. So when it shrunk, I was probably like, wow, that's perfect. But people were saying it shrunk like more than 20%, which is kind of wild for a tablecloth. So that's how I got mine. But I honestly like it because, number one, they're kind of lightweight. I compare them to my bisque trousers, and so I think they're going to be better for summer. But also with my job being an art teacher, if they do get stained, since they're already kind of used, I'm not going to feel quite as guilty. Like, I didn't put this huge investment of money or anything into it. It was something that I had bought for $20 probably a year ago and that got some use out of, and now I'm just getting more use out of it. So that part's really nice. I like them. But I do reach for the pockets a lot, and there's no side pockets.
Yeah, because the pant wraps all the way around. There's no pockets. And the only way I think you could add pockets is if you, like, sewed them to the front, kind of like the back, how it's like top stitched over. Yeah. I think you could do that. That, or I think you would have to like cut a seam down the side, which kind of ruins the like.
Yeah, and that would mess with the seam allowance too.
Yeah,
so
you'd have to add
tricky.
Yeah, you'd have to like cut it out to begin with that way, I think.
We also both lengthened it a little bit, right?
Yeah, I lengthened mine by 2 inches, and I kind of wish I'd gone for like 3, 4, even 5 inches, because they're a little. They're still slightly shorter than what I wanted them to be.
Mine, I have no idea because you said that, and so I cut mine super long and then cropped them as I went.
Yeah. So I feel like a lot of patterns will say like, this was designed for someone who is 5'6" or something, and then I kind of know like, okay, I'm about 5'4", so like it's probably gonna be fine, or like I could even shorten it, or like vice versa if it was like made for someone who is like 5'3", you know, like I can change it. This pattern, I looked and looked and looked, and it's very possible I'm just blind and missed it. I could not find where it said that, so I just added a couple of inches just for my own peace of mind to know like, okay, I added a little bit, that should be fine. But yeah, I wish I definitely added some more. And I'm 5'4", maybe 5'5" on like a really good day.
I feel like we're in like the half.
Yeah, like 4.5-ish. Yeah. So it would be a really good like first ever sewing pattern though. It's so easy.
Honestly.
And since there aren't that many pieces to cut out, like I think that kind of helps. I feel like with sewing, because there's so much prep work that you have to do before you get to the actual sewing part, like this one doesn't have that much of that. And so for a beginner who's just like ready to get started, this would be a really good one to just like cut out a few pieces and you're off to the races.
And it doesn't take a lot of yardage either, so like investment in terms of materials probably wouldn't be quite as bad. Yeah, it was a really nice make.
Yeah.
In fact, I'll probably make a black version because yours looks really good.
I'm going to make a linen colored version that you can go buy a tablecloth. Yeah. I have one more sewing project.
Oh, okay.
And that is the Sid tie dress by Sydney Graham.
Oh, that one's really cute.
I
saw that the other day when I came over.
Yeah, I'm really happy with how it turned out. It's I made it in like a black linen from Matchy Matchy Sewing Club. I think it's their cloud linen, which was super soft. I really like it, so I'll probably be ordering that again in the future. It has like cute little bows at the top, and it's all finished with like bias binding, at least for the bodice, which I thought was really nice, and I feel like that makes it pretty like beginner friendly for me at least. She has a video tutorial that I followed. In fact, I pretty much only exclusively followed that. I don't know that I really busted out the pattern a whole lot, just because the video was easy to watch and follow along with. And I sat down and I watched the whole video before I like started anything, and then that way I kind of had like a basic idea of how things went, and then like as I got to each step I just like refreshed myself real quick. So yeah, I don't know, I like it. I think it's cute.
It's very cute.
It's very similar to a Gaughan dupe, and I think the Gaughan dress was like almost $300 or something like that.
Oh my gosh.
So the fact that you can make your own is kind of cool. So yeah, I'll definitely be looking at more patterns from Sydney in the future, because it was just really, it was a good pattern. It was easy to follow. I liked that there was a video tutorial.
Anytime there's a video, I'm like, oh,
for some reason with knitting, I never watched them. But I've been reading knitting patterns for a lot longer than I've been reading sewing patterns. So I think there's something validating about being able to like watch someone do it and know that you're doing it right.
Yes. It's just comforting.
Yeah. I did add about 2 inches to that one too. Just, I don't know if I needed to do that, but now I think because I made the pomono pants first and they were a little bit too short, then I was scared and I was like, I'm just going to add a little bit of length to everything from here on out.
I feel like I've been adding length to everything recently, and if it comes out long, I don't know, I've just really liked it. Like, I think if you look at the dresses I've made, the hemline keeps getting longer and longer. I'm like, when will it stop? So,
well, thank you for joining us. I hope you've made good progress on whatever it is that you're working on. We always love hearing what people are working on, or if they've made any of these patterns in the past, or whatever your future plans are.
Yeah, thank you for joining us.
Yeah,